This week, a political bombshell sent ripples through the nation. Central Grand Bahama MP Iram Lewis has officially severed ties with the Free National Movement and joined forces with one of the most controversial and vocal figures in Bahamian politics, Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain. The move comes amid growing frustration from Lewis, who says he's been ignored and silenced within the FNM and seeks to align himself with what he calls a movement for the people. But what does this mean for the political landscape of the Bahamas? And is this the beginning of a broader shift in the status quo? We begin tonight's show with the man of the hour, Iram Lewis. Welcome to On the Record. I'm your host, Jerome Sawyer. Our show begins on the other side of this break. Iram Lewis has never been one to shy away from standing on principle. He has also built a reputation for speaking out even when it comes at a cost. Tonight, he's speaking with us one-on-one about his resignation from the FNM, what led to the break, and why he believes the Coalition of Independence is the right fit for him. Iram, welcome to On the Record.
Thank you, Jerome. Thank you for having me.
What a difference a day makes.
Oh, a big difference.
A difference a day makes. First of all, what drove this decision for you?
I just wanted to be in a position where I could better serve my people. I was not comfortable anymore in the position that I was in the now FNM, which is not the FNM that I grew up in. The support, I believe, was not there. The respect at the level that I should have gotten was not there. And there's no one person to point a finger at. There's shared responsibility. And as a result of me being uneasy, uncomfortable, and looking at options, through a lot of fasting and praying, I came to this decision, a tough decision, that I had to make, and I had to make it now.
You said that things were changed, they weren't the same. Is this something that has come over a period of time, or is it something that is more recent for you?
Over a period of time. It's been building up. I noticed that there was a shift even since I challenged for leadership. Since we lost the election and I challenged for leadership, there's been a lack of support. The level of support that I used to get wasn't there anymore, and I continued to push as hard as I could on behalf of not only Central Grand Bahama but the Bahamian people. My heart is always in the right place. And over time you hear the quiet murmuring, you didn't openly support this, you didn't openly do that, why did you do this? But every time when I move on behalf of the people. I remember going to a protest down at the office of the Prime Minister when someone was sworn in, we believe, against the Constitution. I stood with the Bahamian people. There was no political party that I supported. I didn't go there wearing colors or anybody else wearing colors. But because I did that, I was heavily chastised. The people that you were with, why did you go in that crowd? And I think what was missing was that instead of looking at the purpose, they look at the people who surround me, who's surrounding me. Another time I went to a protest in Grand Bahama against the power company because I believed that they were treating the Grand Bahamians unfairly. Once again, I was heavily criticized. Look who you're going there with. But again, look at the purpose, look at the reasoning for going there. It was all on behalf of the Bahamian people.
But do you not accept that in a parliamentary democracy, in a parliamentary system, the one that we subscribe to, where it is really based on party, it is the expectation is, and the rules sometimes dictate that you walk the party line and you move with the party and not separate.
Well, again, it was not a political move, and it was not against the party. It was not that I was giving a mandate by the party to say, we're not going, so you don't go. It was something that I felt was necessary. And I am one of those persons who was affected by both incidences. And understanding that, it would have been wrong. My conscience would have killed me, knowing that something was wrong, was amiss, and I sat back and not doing anything about it. So I did not directly disobey party rules. I stepped in favor of the Bahamian people.
It appeared that the FNM was caught completely off guard by this decision. Did you notify anyone before making this decision?
No, in this case I did not, and I could not. Could not have.
Why not?
Because social media, all the things. There's some things you have to keep close to your breast, and I deliberated over and over. I literally fasted. I prayed. I asked for some confirmation because there was a time when there's the uncertainty, but I know I had to make that move, and I could not confide. It's difficult for people to keep that sort of heavy news to their faithful breast. And by the time I would have gotten to Parliament this morning and did what I had to do, it would have already been out all over the world.
My brother, so you completed an almost impossible feat. It's almost impossible to keep a secret in the Bahamas, but you somehow were able to do it today, on Wednesday.
Absolutely, and it was not to insult anyone. It was not to make anybody feel bad. It was a move that I had to make, and it was a calculated move, but again, on behalf of the Bahamian people.
How would you describe your relationship with the FNM leadership up to the point of your resignation?
The FNM leadership of today is not the FNM leadership that I am used to.
In what way?
That I grew up, where there was a shared level of responsibility, respect. Someone at the executive level, someone at a senior level would have been included in decision making, would have been included in all aspects. Now, there were times when decisions were made when I was not around. I'm in Grand Bahama. But I felt like the level of support that I enjoyed previously was not there. And being uneasy, I'm an athlete too. If you're not in your best frame of mind, you cannot perform at your optimum. So again, not being relaxed, not being comfortable, I felt like I was being drained. And I was not giving my people the best that I can give, not giving my country the best. So I had to be in a space where I can be more relaxed, I can be more open, and I can serve without restrictions.
Let me get more specific with you. Have you lost confidence, or did you lose confidence in Mr. Michael Pinton's leadership?
I would not say in the leadership of the team, and there's no one person should be leading. So I've lost confidence in the leadership, and it's obvious. That's the reason why I'm here now. I have lost confidence in the leadership of the now FNM.
But the leadership is tied to the leader, so you've lost.
And indirectly, yeah, the leadership is tied to the leader. It starts with the leader, but the entire leadership, and you will hear that across the land of the FNM party now. There are persons who are disgruntled. I cannot remain in a situation where I'm uncomfortable, I'm uneasy, and just suck it up.
I'm going to ask you a hypothetical. Do you think you would have remained with the party had Dr. Hubert Minnis remained as leader? If
Dr. Hubert Minnis was in the chair and the same thing was happening right now, I would have made the same decision. It's not the person. It's what was happening in the party itself. That could have been Hubert Minnis or anyone in the chair. And if we were in the position that we're in right now, I would have made the same decision.
So, from what you're telling me then, it doesn't appear that this is an individual. This is a movement, so to speak, within the party that has brought you to this point.
Pretty much, a whole movement within the party itself.
What has the response been like from your constituents in Central Grand Bahama, who, like many of us, were caught off guard by the announcement?
Surprised that you have the guts and the nerve to do it. It's been mixed. Persons were stunned by the decision. I've received some pushback, but the surprising thing is that I've been getting more encouraging news and texts than I imagined. Persons texting me and calling, saying it's a bold move, it's a courageous move, we applaud you, it's time for something different, it's time for a change, we're tired of the same old back and forth, and we applaud you for your courage. And now others who may also be in the same position will now be able to now say, you know what, someone did it before, I can do it too. You've opened some doors.
So Party insiders have shared with us that there was a process within the constituency, at the constituency level a few weeks ago, a process to choose a candidate, and you were not selected in that process. Can you confirm that that happened, or what happened in that process?
No, every constituency was wide open, and I never agreed with this. Every seat is wide open. So if you are an incumbent, if you have 20 persons interested in that same seat, they were given the leeway to go in the constituency and agitate on their behalf to become the candidate. All aspirants can now go into any constituency, whether you're a sitting member of parliament or not. And if someone is going to come into Central Grand Bahama as an aspirant to run for the same seat that I'm holding, will they have anything good to say about me? They are trying their best to convince the people that they are the best choice. So in that regard, perhaps without even recognizing it, your sitting candidate can be undermined.
So you felt you were being undermined? Yeah,
there were some things that happened that I felt should not have happened. I never asked anyone to be ring-fenced. I never asked for that. But show more support, show more respect to your sitting members of parliament. And I have fought for this party. I mean, literally, I got my clothes ripped off for this party and for the people. And I have no regret doing that. So I have proven that my heart was there. I did my best to serve, and I do appreciate those in the inner circle who really, really supported me, because there was a person who stepped up and they had my back.
So political expediency sometimes requires a leader to make decisions. Do you feel that you still held the support or hold the support of the majority of your constituents?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. And they always know me to be bold. I always answered my phone. A lot has changed over time. Not perfect. No one is perfect. But I did my best, and they will tell you, if they call me, the only way I don't answer my phone if I'm in parliament or if I'm in church or in the funeral, I will text you, I'll call you back. And I can tell you right now, 100% of the people who will tell you that they call Iram Lewis, I return my calls.
So has the party indicated that they would not be running you again or would not be putting you forward as a candidate?
The party never blatantly said that to me, but in some instances you're old enough and you're wise enough to understand exactly. You can see the signs of the time. The sky's dark, thunder and lightning, rain is going to come. So you, in that situation, you seek shelter. You protect yourself before you end up in the storm and you're in a deluge, and here comes the problem. So signs of the time, you read, you fast, you understand, and then you move.
The members of your constituency voted for you as an FNM,
yes.
Returned you to that seat, even though your
yes.
party lost, and by all accounts pledged their support for you and the party. You have now placed your support elsewhere. How do you feel that's going to resonate with them?
Well, I believe a lot of people voted for the person, yes, because there were some persons who were not FNMs who came out and voted for the FNM because of me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not all the answers, but I do believe that person again will understand me and vote for me. Now, those persons who I would have disappointed, yes, there are some loyal, hardcore FNMs. But in my instance, and I have often said this, blind loyalty is something that I do not support. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Because you're FNM and I'm FNM, I cannot support everything that you do, even if I know it's off base. I have to check you, but I'm going to do it respectfully. So again, understanding that, and understanding where this now FNM is, the new FNM, you hear the rumblings on the street. It is not the party that I grew up in. When you can have senior person like Janet Boswick saying the party need to unify. If you don't unify, we're in problems. And others before her saying the same thing, and after saying the same thing. We need to unify, we need to unify. After all this time, from 2021, by now we should have been a cohesive unit.
So what do you think now will happen now that you have stepped away from the party when people are calling for unification?
I don't think it's going to make a difference whether I was there or not. I don't think it's going to make a difference. Some decisions were made at that level, at the top level, that I could not change. And I decided, in my situation, to make a decision and suffer the consequences or reap the reward one way or the other. I'm prepared.
I want to talk now about future. Present. Why was the Coalition of Independence chosen?
It was a tough decision,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll say this to you, Jerome. I received calls from the Progressive Liberal Party, And I'm being very honest and open.
Since your decision to step away from the FNM? Previously?
Yeah,
Okay.
previously. You know, we like you, we like what you're doing. Why don't you come join us? And here's my position. How could I be a man of integrity and of character, being in Parliament for the last 8 years, and particularly over the last 4 years, beating you up, talking about your bad policies, how you're not working on behalf of the Bahamian people? I give credit where credit is due. When the minister would have done a good job, I give them credit. Not all you do is bad, not all we do is right. But however, I was more critical because I don't believe that they were serving in the best interests of the people, the common man in our country. So for me now to leave the Free National Movement and to go to that party that I've been beaten up on, I would come across as being very disingenuous, being hypocritical. So I could not do that. Yeah, the ordinary person would have said, well, go independent and sit there. I felt like I would have been more baseless in there as an independent. Look at the CEO, I've been watching and listening to their mandate, not the personalities, listening to their shout for the Bahamian people. It should be about us. We need freedom of information. We need to ensure that Bahamians are protected. And again, listening to their consistent message. Consistent, they've been very consistent. So you know what? They're building. I'm an architect, I'm a builder. Maybe I can help now build this new brand, something that the Bahamian people can believe in again.
You have joined a party that many view as unconventional. Even its leader, at times, has been seen to be very much unconventional and swimming against the grain, what we know to be conventional politics. How do you fit into that?
I do believe that when you swim against the current, you go against the wind. You know, sometimes it lifts you. It builds strength, and you have to wonder why. If we have an opportunity to go downstream and be swimming upstream against the current, it must be for a good reason. And the conventional way is not necessarily the best way all the time. And we've been doing the conventional way in this Bahamas, from one party to the next, back and forth, flip-flopping. And we always cry, okay, we are tired of you, we're going to go back to the next system. This is something that is different. It is unconventional, and I think it's time now for the Bahamas to perhaps change the way that we've been doing things and see if now this new way can make a difference, and I believe it can.
So we have in some ways been down this road before. I remember in 2012 with the DNA and Brian McCartney, who was a member of your party, our former party, going on to form the DNA and brought what many thought was a viable third party. After 2 elections, the party dissolved. The needle did not move in many instances. Why do you think this time around may be any different?
I am more politically involved than I was back then. I'm paying more attention. I'm listening to the rumbling on the ground. And you know, particularly the young people. Last time, yeah, COVID was a factor, but a lot of people just didn't vote because they wasn't feeling it. They were not feeling it. I believe this time that there's a movement. There's a movement away from the traditional, from the conventional. And I believe the young people are now making a stand. We're tired about the FNM and the PLP. Yes, there's a third party that's not completely formed, but they share their vision for a new Bahamas. We can now be a part of that process, and perhaps whatever adjustment need to be made to include all of us and include us as players and as beneficiaries, then we are willing to take that chance.
But I challenge you a bit on this, though, that you spoke about a movement. And movements are really born out of frustration, sometimes wanting better, wanting more, wanting different.
Do you think Bahamians are frustrated?
I said movements are born out of frustration. Or people just being fed up with business as usual. We all accept that.
Absolutely.
But is a movement or is a party that may be a movement a viable alternative to government, or is this simply a protest move?
I think we're looking at this as a viable opportunity where young people, now the future of our country, can now play a role, because this is something that is being built. And yes, it started back in the day with Henry Bostwick, Dr. B.J. Norris tried it, Brian McCartney and his crew, they tried it. But again, the FNM started out as a dissident A2, and they was in the wilderness forever. They never gave up. They didn't stop. They didn't dissipate after 1 or 2 elections. They continued to hammer and hammer and hammer, and after 25 plus years, they finally got there. And I believe in the new vision, and I believe that it's going to happen. It's going to happen as a result of our people deciding that, hey, it's time for us to change the way of doing things. We've been doing the same thing over and over. We're getting the same results. We're frustrated. Why not change?
The COI has a full slate of offices, including a leader, a deputy, a chairman, but someone with the political gravitas that you have, having served in government. This is your second time in office as a member of parliament. Where do you fit into the political landscape of a party that seemingly has an established structure of leadership?
There's no voice in parliament right now, and from what I've seen so far, and the fact that I am seasoned right now, I'm still politically young, but more seasoned than most of them. I've received a lot of calls and support. Hey, we're going to rely on you. We need you to help us. This is a chance for me to help them and but first of all, help the country. So I do believe that there's a role that I can and I will play. And as an act of God, when I look at their candidate selection, Central Bahama was not named.
Interesting. You, as you've said it, you have given a voice to the COI in Parliament. They now have parliamentary representation, which means that you will be given an opportunity to speak on a regular basis. You will be able to address national issues and give them that credibility sometimes, in some instances, they did not have from a parliamentary perspective. What will be your focus in Parliament for this party and even for your constituents?
The COI is us. And I will listen. Again, the 2030 vision. I've bought into that, and in segments it will be presented to the people. I will listen to the people on the ground. Their concerns could only go so far, but like you said, they can now be placed on the halls of Parliament at the judiciary level in government. It's a heavy mandate. It's a very heavy mandate. It's a heavy load that I'm prepared to carry through the grace of God and with the support of those persons who have been fed up, who want a change, who want to ensure that their children are empowered, that we do not create situations where our children who will be born 2 generations down the road have to pay off bad debt that we put on them today. The whole idea is let's wipe off whatever we can now and let's make it easier for them. We have to live, of course, but let's live good without compromising their future.
What do you think your chances are in the next election?
My chances are good. I will never go into a fight that I don't believe I can win. And my faith is very strong. It took a lot of faith and courage to do what I did today. I'm going to question every now and then, hey, did you make the right decision? But I've made this decision and I will move on. I'm moving on in faith. And I know that through the grace of God, I do believe that this is a move of God, because 4 or 5 months ago, I don't know. This thought was never in my mind. In fact, weeks ago it was not in my mind. But here we are today.
You answered the question I had. How recent of a decision?
Here we are today.
Recent.
Here we are today. A person would say, why didn't you tell me? I couldn't.
We are just about out of time. My final question is, what message, or I guess we're going to wrap up with this, what message would you like to send to the people of Central Grand Bahama and the wider Bahamian public about this new chapter?
It was not a selfish move. It was a move for the betterment of my country, the constituency, and the people of the Bahamas. I did not want to appear in any other camp, because person would say, well, why didn't you go and join the governing party? Cut yourself a sweet deal where you perhaps could have gotten a contract, gotten a position. But no, I came up from undercovering, made the supreme sacrifice. If you out there and you believe in the cause, you make a move on behalf of the cause that you believe in. See, like Dr. Miles Monroe will say, 2 important days of your life: when you're born, and the second is when you find out why you were born. I believe I was born to make a difference, to serve my people. And I'm in a position where I can serve, and I want to tell the people of Central Grand Bahama, I really thank you. I appreciated those who voted for me, the hardcore FNMs, and those who voted for me because of me, myself. I may have disappointed some people. They didn't see it coming, and they're going to ask the question, why didn't you talk to me first? I could not. in this instance, and you understand, could not have said that because this would have been all over social media before I got there. But again, I'm here to fight for you, to work with you. My phone line will not change. My doors will remain open, and I'm here to prepare to work with you to make Grand Bahama, Central Grand Bahama, and the Bahamas a better place.
You know, I have to say to you, my brother, that you have the distinction of being the only man in the Bahamas who could keep a secret. And so I will always admire you for being able to do this. I don't know who all knew, but I know you kept a secret. And in this country, it's a very hard thing to do. So I certainly, that will be one of the things that I will walk away remembering most about this day. But certainly, I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to come by and speak with us. I know that you've got a busy lineup. You've become the most sought-after man in the past few hours in the country. But thank you for stopping by. All the best to you.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you and the effort that you continue to do to push the Bahamas to the forefront.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So, a bold move, a new alliance, and a political future reimagined. But what does the man leading this movement have to say about it all? After the break, COI leader Lincoln Bain joins me to share his reaction. You're watching On the Record. We're back right after this. Welcome back to On the Record. Lincoln Bain has called for national reform, economic empowerment, and radical transparency in government. But with a sitting MP now at his side, is his movement finally gaining traction? Well, tonight he joins us to discuss this new political partnership of sorts and what it means for the road ahead. Lincoln, welcome back to On the Record. I know you were here a few months ago. I was away at the time,
yes,
but happy to have you back in our studio.
Thank you. Good to be here.
First of all, I said to Iram in the last segment that he has the distinction, as far as I'm concerned, to be the only man in the Bahamas to have held a secret. But I have to give you that distinction as well. You all held what I would call a hell of a secret.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And we have a good team around us that kept the secret.
We can talk a little bit more about that. But what was your initial reaction when Iram Lewis officially joined the Coalition of Independence?
Well, it was natural progression, so I know it was going to happen. We've been having conversations for a long time, not about him leaving the party, but about the country and the state of the country. And he was very dissatisfied with the direction the country is going. And we would always talk about, the Bahamas, the Bahamian people, what we're going through, and that there was no vision in either of the parties, including his, to take the country forward. And so he always seemed patriotic in our conversation, like he loves country and he loves God. And we held a protest, and we had protests, and he came to more than one of them, but he specifically came out, and the media interviewed him at the Prime Minister's office, where the party told him, basically instructed them not to go to, but he still went because it was about the people. That wasn't a political protest. It was just us coming as Bahamians, and we made it clear, no one wear political colors, just come as Bahamians. And he did, and I was shocked that he got reprimanded from the party for that.
Did that, I don't want to call them red flags, but that's the best way to describe it, but did that raise any red flags with you about what might be happening with him within the party, with him expressing this dissatisfaction and concern?
It raised red flags about the party, that it was a cause that the party should have been out there protesting about, and they actually reprimanded one of their members for standing with the Bahamian people. That made me say, no, this party isn't it. But it showed that maybe they are about this cause, but maybe they're just trying to find a reason to attack him. And so I did think that in the back of my head, but it didn't matter because we always talked about the country and where we would be going.
So take us to the point where he now decides to join. Did you say to him, listen, our door is open, or did he knock on that door?
I think through the conversations, it just became obvious that we want what's best for this country. I didn't ask him, he didn't ask me, that I could remember. It just was natural progression. We got to do something. All right, and it wasn't, I know people were rumbling that he might not get a nomination. He was never informed of that. He didn't know that for certain, but he had already made the decision that he feels that the new young lions, the new generations have to come forward and make this happen. And he believed in the party's philosophy. He was reading up on what we were doing and studying us, and he felt like this is the way for the future of the Bahamas. And so it was just natural.
Any conditions or any expectations of him joining the COI?
Well, to just stand up and fight for the Bahamian people. We started out on a mission to educate the people, because once people are informed, you can't bamboozle them anymore. And that was our mission from the break, Jerome, to show the Bahamian people what is theirs, what's really going on in this country. The media can only go so far in every country. And so we had to be that extra step to help the media to get the extra message out there, to say the things that they can't say and reveal what they can't reveal. And so that was our mission, and we want him to continue that. We now have a position in the House of Assembly to reveal and put on the public record what's really going on.
We can get to that in a minute, because that is really a very different and a new dynamic for you. Iram Lewis said to us that his vision aligns with yours. In your words, what is that vision?
Our vision is to put Bahamians first. We're not fighting for equality in the Bahamas. We're fighting to put Bahamians above everybody else in this country. Every other country does it, we're going to do it too. Finally, we should be over the foreigners. Right now, Bahamians across this country feel like foreigners have every advantage. They look out for them, they roll out the red carpet for them. What are we in our own country? There should be one country that we go to in the world where we are put first. And that's not mouth. That's not just talk. It is real. And we are going to do that because we are Bahamians who believe in this Bahamas. We believe that the Bahamas is wealthy, but the people are not benefiting from it. And we're going to make sure whatever it is, whatever amount it is, however it can be done, that Bahamians benefit from the wealth of this nation. We are going to ensure that. And lastly, we are going to take the power away from the politician and give it to the people. For too long after election, the politicians disappear, change their phone number, and you say you can't get them. You need speed bumps to your corner. You need a stop sign to your corner. You can't get the politician. But now we're going to take that power from them. And
so I do want to challenge you just a bit on something you said. And I get it. It's something that said you're taking the power away from the politician and give to the people, but then who runs the country?
The people run the country. Democracy means the rule of the people. But the problem in our country, unlike other civilized nations, is that our politicians keep all the power in their hand. They make sure you have to come to them and through them to get everything done. And that's what's stifling our country. 15 people in the cabinet should not determine what happens on Moores Island, should not determine what happens in Spanish Wells. The people of that community should determine. When you go to America, Trump cannot tell Miami what to do. Their city council and their mayor does what they want. If the federal government wants to do something, they have to come in and do it and spend their own money to do it.
So you're advocating a bit more of what we're looking at, or the strengthening then of local government?
Well, it's going to be past local government. I feel that we were bamboozled with local government because they never got a real budget and they never got real power. The power is still in the hands of the central government. But we're going to make sure that the money made on every island stays on that island. Abaco, Eleuthera, all of these islands send lots of money to Nassau and never get it back. And so we're going to make sure that you have the money to develop your own island. Every island is neglected, Jerome. Every single island has issues. But if those people could keep their money, send a royalty to the central government to do central government stuff, and develop their island, we would have fire trucks, we would have ambulances, the road would be fixed because the people have to drive on that, the schools would be fixed because their children have to go to the school. That's the change that we need. And I think that every sensible Bahamian will vote for this.
I agree with you on that. I love the family islands. I go as often as I can. But one of the things that continues to bother me every time I visit is the lack of development and infrastructure and the basic things that are needed on those islands. And I'm with you on that. I think we have failed our family islands. Because they're being robbed in so many ways.
They're being robbed. Every year their money is taken from them and it goes to Nassau and never comes back.
Let's get back a bit though to this, what we'd call a partnership between COI and its newest member, Iram Lewis. What does this say to the public about where your party is heading?
Well, our party is heading for the House of Assembly to take this country back and give it to the people. That's where we're headed. And so the joining of a member of parliament did not spur the movement, did not bring the momentum. It was the momentum that caused that member of parliament to join. We've had momentum for quite some time now. The government follows everything we do. They respond to what we do. We've been out there putting the message out there that the Bahamas has natural resources. Back in the day, they said we had no natural resources. That wasn't true. Before last election, they said carbon credits aren't real. Now that's all the government is talking about. They said don't listen to Lincoln Bain, carbon credits isn't real. Now that's all they talk about. People are seeing that, and they're legitimizing us by now talking about the same things that they said to the public that we were lying about. And so that's where we're going, and the momentum is clear, all on the ground. You can hear people say that they're tired of both sides. You saw it by the lack of turnout last time, and people are tired. They just wanted an option, and now an option they have.
Having a voice in Parliament, having someone who has dedicated time to speak to issues, who has a platform, what is that going to mean for you as a party and helping to get your message to an even greater national audience?
It means that now we can fight for the Bahamian people in the House of Assembly. That we are now there. We fought for people in the media, in social media, and we got a lot of traction that way. And people watch us. We get lots of viewers because people, they are paying attention to what we're saying. But now it's going to be legitimized in the House of Assembly and on the record. And so if you're not paying the police reservists, as is happening right now, the police reservists haven't been paid at all for this year, we're going to speak out about that. We're going to defend the Bahamian people, and we're going to call on the government to do what's right by these people. If you have people who are 10 and 15 years and they're not permanent and pensionable, which is happening right now, we are going to make sure that we stand up for these people. And even if we have to table bills to do certain things, that's some money bills, so we won't be able to do that, but we're going to table bills where we can to be able to fight for these people.
Is there a role for Iram Lewis inside the COI, outside of his role in Parliament? Is there a role in the leadership, in the obviously you are the leader, but in the running of the party, any positions that may be made available to him within the party itself?
The parliamentary caucus in every party automatically becomes a part of the leadership. All right, so once you're an MP, you're automatically a part of the leadership. So he is immediately a part of our executive as he joined the party, and he is immediately a part of the leadership of the party. And so he has full access to our party.
Some critics say that this is simply a protest and a stunt. How do you respond to your critics who will say that, you know, what people are responding to frustration, but that is not going to materialize at the polls? What do you say to those people who are critical?
Well, if that's what they think, then what they're saying is that the Bahamians are going to lose again. Because every time we go to the polls and then we are dissatisfied. And that's been happening for decades. That we go to the polls, we say we're voting for change, and we vote for the same PLP and F&M, these business partners who are working together, and then you're disappointed. So if you feel that we're going to lose, it's not us that's going to lose. It's the Bahamian people that's going to lose again. More taxes, more running the country by debt, more failure. That's the option. And so if you want something different, you have to do something different. Worst case scenario, even if they feel that there's a threat to their power, their hold on power, they may just start to do some stuff that they promise. They may start to behave properly if they know there's a threat, that you won't either be forced to vote for them or their best friends. And so our existence fixes the system.
Which brings me to another point. Would you call the COI a movement, a political party, or something else?
A little bit of both. Okay. We are a source of education for the Bahamian people. We are a movement. We are an activist group, and now we are a political party. That is not primarily what we're doing. The political party platform we're using to get the results that we want. Because just being an activist, you could scream at the government all day. They still don't have to do what you want. You have to actually go into the House of Assembly, take the pen, and make the changes that we want to see. If we want solar power in this country, we got to take the country and just bring solar power. If we want to bring change, we have to be the change and be in the seat.
How do you balance the grassroots anti-establishment ethos of the COI with now being a part of the actual parliamentary machinery within the House?
every single great movement started out as anti-establishment. Because the establishment, when it gets to the point that it is stale and it is failing, there must be change. And it is the natural cycle of life. And so the circle of life means the young lions must come up and change the old lions, because they're stuck in their old way. But we're in a different time and a different environment, so we must change it. That's what Sir Lyndon Pillin and Mallow Butler and Randall Fox had to do. They were rebel rousers. They were very rowdy, charged with sedition, because they were seen as criminals. They were seen as the broke party, the pauper party. But they had to come and make that change. Ingram was known as the rude boy. All right? He's uneducated. He can't speak properly. They had all these things to say about him. But he came and he made a difference in his time. We have a different time now. And we need the young lions to take over. And this is not a hit on anyone older than us. But when you really want change, you have to have a group of people from this society, this era, who knows this era, to bring the change. Our Prime Minister is a 70-something-year-old man. He's probably going to be 76 at the next general election. Michael Pintard is another elderly person. He's probably going to be 63 at the next election. He can go on the elderly line and in the bank.
63 is not elderly.
All right. Well, it's not
Older.
extremely old, but he is a senior citizen. He can go in the senior line at the bank. That's not to take away. We have persons in their 60s running for us also.
Sure.
But it means that in terms of the leadership, we have to do what Pinlin and those did. He was in his 30s. Ingham was in his 40s. We need a younger generation to lead us into the new Bahamas, not anyone born under the Queen.
What do you see as some of the greatest threats right now to the established PLP and FNM? You talk about this growing support that your party is having, and obviously this is coming from a disenfranchisement with these two established political parties. But what do you see as the greatest threat to those established parties right now?
The people waking up, the people seeing what has been going on. The greatest threat is that people realizing that the PLP and FNM are one and working together. That's a threat to them. The people realizing what belongs to them and the value of this nation. That is why they were lying to us and telling us that there are no natural resources. And so it wasn't until we produced the documents showing their signatures on these documents that they have to start now admitting. Now we have a Ministry of Natural Resources, but didn't you just a few years ago say we have none? Where did they come from all of a sudden? And so the greatest threat is the people waking up, and the next greatest threat is the empowerment of the people. Because if you are not dependent on them, then they can't come to you with $50 in a t-shirt and you feel like they did the world for you. And so they want to keep us poor and uneducated. That is the policy of both of these parties. Keep us poor, keep us uneducated, and we will be dependent on them. But we are going to take the cookie jar and throw it out the window like the mace to the people.
You mentioned even in speaking with reporters outside of the House of Assembly that you anticipate there will be more movements to the COI. Do you anticipate more members of Parliament will be withdrawing their support from the major parties and joining you?
I think if there's any member of Parliament who really loves this country and is tired of just being a part of a political system where they're stifled, don't have a say, and you could only do what the party wants you to do, I think that all of them should come on board. I think that they should wake up and have the courage to do what Iram did.
Have any of them indicated a willingness?
I've had conversations.
Interest?
I have conversations with members of Parliament, and a lot of them are also disturbed with what's going on in the country.
On both sides.
So, on both sides.
On both sides.
Yes.
Interestingly, now, if you could recall, what are some of the things that they are most concerned about or most aggrieved by? What are some of the things that they're telling you that bothers them the most?
A lot of them. Well, one of the biggest complaints I have is that there are members of Parliament who come in with all kind of hope and zeal, and they want to do this and do that, and they think that they can make some change, and then when they get in the party, they realize that they can't do anything. They can only do what they're told, and everything that is being done is just being done towards whoever controls the party, whether financial backers or cronies, etc. And that's a complaint I hear all the time. I've heard that even from senior members of Parliament. I've called their names in other platforms. And that's the major problem. The problem isn't who the leader is. They always come to you every election and say, oh, we got a new leader now, we change. Or look at these brand new candidates like they're about to do now. These brand new candidates, this is the bridge to the future. And but the problem is the corruption of both parties. You cannot put new wine in the old wineskin. That's the advice of the wisest man who ever lived, wiser than Solomon, Jesus Christ. And we keep trying to put new into old, and it keeps bursting on us, and then we keep falling for the same thing. And so the biggest complaint I've had is that, and they see the same corruption, they see what's going on, and it's like, what you could do? Ain't nothing you could do, just get yours and keep quiet.
My late mother used to say, you can't put on new clothes if you ain't paid.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's move along. I want to talk a little bit about though your strategy as a political party. As we obviously have the next election in sight already, what is your strategy, and how are you building towards contesting that election, and are you looking to put candidates in every seat this go round?
We are putting candidates in every seat. We did that last time. I think we had, remember we were in a party. We just had independent candidates working together, and we endorsed each candidate.
Has that changed?
Yeah, since election we've decided to become a political party. And so we're an officially registered political party.
Okay.
And so we've had our convention, we have our constitution, and so we've done everything that they're doing, and we're doing on their level. We're not a B group, we're an A group. We've had conventions on their level. I mean, even our Vision 2030 launch, it was something to behold. We're traveling the islands, we are seeing to the needs of all of the people, and so we're operating on the same level that they are. And I think that disturbs them. I hear them asking questions about who's funding you, where are you getting this from? And then they'll criticize us about dollar drives. When they don't realize that Obama was funded in the same way.
Sure.
But our strategy is to let this be a move of the Bahamian people, and that's what's happening.
The reality is, though, that political campaigns require money. They require funding, and a lot of times you'll hear people within third parties say that continues to be a major issue for them. They do not have the funding. How do you plan to address it in this election cycle?
We've been addressing it. As you can see, since election came and gone, we've not stopped. We've been campaigning straight through. We've been, in September, the week after election, we was flooded by immigrants, and we jumped on the plane and went down in Agua and made sure the government put those persons on the plane. We've been fighting for people, different causes all over this country. That's not cheap. We take whole contingents to the Family Islands, and that's not cheap. And so we have been moving around. We've even had a protest in America. That was not cheap. And so money is not an issue. Once in a generation, money doesn't matter. When the people are fed up, you saw Kamala Harris raise over $1 billion. Trump raised $300 million, and he slaughtered her. The original PLP in '67 didn't have the money that the UBP had, but the people were tired. When it comes a point when the people are tired of suffering, the money won't matter as much. But so far I can tell you that we're comfortable, we're operating, and look at what you see and then you can determine.
Final question, what message do you send to Bahamians who may feel disillusioned with the current parties and are unsure about joining your movement or even voting in general?
I say to the Bahamian people that you can tolerate failure only for so long. This is not about politics, you know. This is about all of us have to live with this country. And if 50 years later we're still talking about basic needs, we're still talking about proper water and electricity and fire trucks and ambulances, then that's a failure. If after 50 years we still have not built one hospital, the Princess Margaret Hospital was built 70 years ago by the UBP. We've not had one hospital. That's a failure. When people are dying in that hospital, look at A&E. That's a failure. If we are making $3 billion a year, Jerome, and we can't pay our civil servants, we've failed. Do we want more of this failure just because we love a party? Do we want more of that, or do we want to try something different? Well, what we want to try is to put the power in your hands. We believe that each community can manage their money properly, and that will give more accountability. It's like when Jethro gave the advice to Moses. You put the tens over the hundreds, and you put the hundreds over the thousands. It was managing properly. And so we can manage what's happening in South Eleuthera better if the South Eleuthera people are managing their money, and they have to account for it, not someone in Nassau accounting for what happens in every nook and cranny. We believe that the people are going to act in their own best interests, not waiting for someone in Nassau to determine what they have, and that if they have their own money, they can account for it better, and now we can track the money better. We need a better run country, and we have the professionals in order to do that. Real qualified Bahamians, not the old names that you keep hearing about who've been trying to run. Qualified Bahamians who are ready to take this country to the next level.
Lincoln, I think you have really set the platform for the discourse going forward on what people are interested in hearing about. I think you all have been able to keep a momentum and a movement going outside of a political season. That in and of itself is a great accomplishment. We shut down after elections, but you and your team have been able to keep the conversations going and really keep the Bahamian people's attention focused on some things that really matter to us. So I thank you and I congratulate you for that.
Thank you, man.
All right, and all the best for you, and to you, I should say. And certainly in the next few months, we will continue to watch and keep an eye and keep engaging you and your leadership team and your candidates. So thank you again.
Same here. You're a legend, and I appreciate you
I
for
know
the
I
work
don't
that
have to
you've
be a
done.
legend.
No,
man,
you are.
but thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate the compliment, and as always, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. So as the political plates shift beneath our feet, one thing is clear: Bahamian voters are watching, listening, and perhaps even re-evaluating whether this marks the rise of a new political era or simply another dramatic chapter in our democratic story. Well, that all remains to be seen. But as always, On the Record will be there to follow the journey. Special thanks to our guests, the Central Grand Bahama MP Iram Lewis and COI leader Lincoln Bain, and of course the entire team, and of course to your audience for watching. Once again, I'm your host Jerome Sawyer. We'll see you next time right here on The Record.